What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Me TV Reviews. I am your host, Mo, and tonight, you guys, we're going to be discussing Only Murders in the Building. That's right, y'all. This is season 4, episode 5, titled Adaptation. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week thus far, y'all. Tomorrow's hump day, so y'all know we got a couple more days to grind this thing out, get them coins, kids, get those grades. And then it's right back to the weekend. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead, get into the synopsis real quick, and then we're going to get right into the episode. So the synopsis for this one is: the trio face off against a collection of individuals who deceive, manipulate, and threaten as second nature. A Hollywood cast and crew. All right, y'all. This episode was really good. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we start the episode off with the awkward fly on the wall writer for the movie, Marshall, okay? And he's at his home and he's barefaced. Y'all, what happened to his beard? Y'all, it's a fake. And so Oliver is referencing in the audio the adaptation and how you can try to do everything to look the part you aspire to get, but you also have to have the talent to actually get said part. And so as he's saying that, we can see Marshall, he done dressed up like his idol. I can't remember that man's name, y'all. But either way, his idol is dressed a particular way, and so he dresses just like him. He even has the fake beard and the glasses to boot, right? And so he's struggling once he starts to try to write this story. He's struggling to try to find his groove, but once he does, he actually submits his screenplay or script or whatever they call it, and he finally gets a call back, and the rest is history. All right. So back to the gang. They're being held at gunpoint by the movie producer, Bev. But once she realizes that it's them, she quickly drops, or she tries to drop the gun, y'all. She was like, oh, this thing isn't loaded anyway. And so she tries to set it down and she ends up shooting it off a few times. I'm just going to take that from you, girl, because why? It takes a little bit of pressure to shoot a gun. So what? Anyway, they quickly find out that she stumbled upon a loaded gun. Along with a few sketches for the jump park, she explains that she came down to mosey around because she had received a voicemail from Saz the night that Saz was killed, right? Saying how she had found out something that was going to be detrimental to the movie. And so she gives us the alibi that she was actually at a party that night, being a boss, doing boss things, making boss moves, being seen in this boss light, right? And so she was at a party that night, and so she's got an alibi. It couldn't have been her, but after listening to the voicemail, she thought that she would take her time getting back to Saz because she didn't want nobody bringing her no bad news. Shout out to the Wiz, all right? So now that Saz is dead, though, she believes someone from the cast might have killed her. So she came down there to investigate. But since they're there, this isn't her preference of a neighborhood to be kind of just moseying around and snooping in. So she figures she let them do their thing and she's going to get back to the safer side of town for her and do her executive producer thing that she does, right? So they ended up calling Detective Williams over and they fill her in on what's happening. And she's pissed because they basically wasted her time, aside from her making some jokes about Oliver's dilemma. Now, y'all, Oliver done finally figured out who this arm is that's been resting on Loretta for quite some time now. And turns out, y'all, the arm belongs to a Jack Jonk. And he's a castmate of Loretta's. And apparently he's an Olympic retired professional swimmer. So Charles gives her the gun to see if she can get anything off of it. And Mabel mentions the checks that they received from the movie. So Mabel's like, oh, this is great, that we gave them our life rights and this, that, and the third. And they wrote us this nice check for it. But she still is not quite sure what she does. She doesn't know what she did to deserve this check. And so they end up coming up with her being the podcast producer. That sounds pretty good when you say it out loud. She's a podcast producer. Okay. I like that. Like it a lot. And so the rest of the episode, y'all, Oliver's going to be trying to up his manhood, I guess, if you will, or showcase how manly he is so he could keep his lady. He don't want to lose her to Jack Junk, but apparently, everybody's got stories about Jack Junk and how jacked his junk is. Y'all like what I did there? That was cute, wasn't it? So, y'all, those brother sisters are weird as hell. It's almost like incestuously weird. Like, I don't like it, y'all. But they throw out the idea that they want the crew to come to this photo shoot that they were gonna do. And initially, the first idea that popped into their head was full frontal nudity. Again, weird. Instead, they changed it to them drowning in their god-awful outfits from season 1. So they're going to be back to season 1 attire. I guess that's worse, huh? So Oliver then runs into Bev again, who just seems to keep the junk jokes coming. See if you can say that a whole bunch of times. And, like I said, Oliver is not too fond of it. He really wants to prove that he's the man for Loretta, not this Jack Junk guy who doesn't know junk about his lady. Or he doesn't know junk about his lady's junk. Anyway, yeah, Loretta is finna get her junk janked. Charles and Mabel talk to Howard briefly about that. Charles and Mabel end up talking to Howard. Apparently, y'all, Howard has moved on up in the world. He's got a position with the crew. Now, I feel like he's an assistant. I think he might have told them what he did, y'all. I was not paying attention to I just know he had some drinks in his hand, and he was mentioning the matte tape. That is not what it's called, y'all, but that's what I'm gonna call it, the sticky matte tape, right? And so apparently this is just another thing that Eva Longoria has come out with, and this is amazing because apparently it keeps all of the dust particles from when they're on these shoots from getting into her nose. She's such a diva. But anyway, y'all, this is hopefully beneficial to everybody else too, alongside Eva Longoria, and we'll see how this works. So he's gotten this job, like I said, and he knows everybody and all the movie jargon. So congrats, Howard. Where is Hammy Faye? Did you just ditch her since you done came up in the world? Did you put her back in the bathtub? I need to know where she is. So they start to walk around the room that's literally filled with suspects from end to end. And Charles has this bright idea. Y'all know how Charles is. He has this bright idea to take pics of everybody to see if they can spot anybody who looks suspicious once they print out the photos later, right? And so he was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to get everybody in their natural element and get them on these candid photos. And so, y'all, he is invading the hell out of their privacy. Like, he's getting all close up to them. Everybody looking at him all weird. You can hear the shutter on his camera. And Mabel was like, please tell me you've got that turn the right way. Please tell me that it's not in selfie mode. Oh, Lord. Charles. And so then as he's working his way towards the end of the room, they end up spotting Marshall, who actually tries to take off. So he does look suspicious, y'all. But when he tried to take off, he ends up getting caught on the sticky tape. Oh, gosh. So they go over to him and they tell him that they want to talk to him. He initially thought that they were approaching him to have him do another rewrite, because apparently that's been a running theme at this point. Every few hours, somebody wants him to come because they're not satisfied with their character or what have you, and they want him to do a rewrite. But they just want to ask him a few questions about Sass. So while they're waiting on the elevator, Bev is able to catch up to Mabel so she can talk about her future in producing podcast. Oh, joy. This is going to be fun. So Mabel makes up some random fake ass projects that she's got in the works, and Bev eats it all up just the same. Because, I mean, really, we're coming for Mabel. and we're staying for Mabel, we don't really necessarily care too much about the work that she's actually producing, although that's pretty awesome too. But we want you, girl. We just want you. And then we can figure the rest out later. Okay? They'll love you all the same. So Oliver and Charles go ahead and go up without her, and they run into Ben again, who is there to thank him for being allowed to use the fact that he knows them to land some small jobs, but also to remind him of the promise that he made to Ben about him being the double, right? And so he was like, okay, cool. So y'all, he done bought him some bread. It was cute. Anyway, he'll keep him posted, he says, and then Mabel rejoins them so they can talk to Marshall. So he tells them that he was actually performing a stand-up show for like an hour at some type of comedy factory. And so he actually wanted to offer up them listening to his stand-up for an hour, and they were like, no, not doing that. That's okay. But honestly, at this point, y'all, he's just admiring the fact that he's able to go through all the rigmarole of being a potential suspect, right? He's like, oh man, this is great. Like, I just can't believe I'm being looked at as a suspect. It seems like everybody is just so in awe of the fact that they are actually a part of their process as they work through this case. So Mabel notices that as he's been scratching his face this entire time, y'all. Mabel notices that he's sporting a fake beard. And so she calls him out on it, and he admits that this is all a fake, okay? This beard is fake. The glasses are fake. I got 20/10 vision. It's just all a fake. And so they were like, why are you doing that? And he admits to having imposter syndrome. Because sometimes you do have to look the part, and then to sometimes feel confident enough to land the part. So Mabel can understand that, okay? She feels like an imposter sometimes too. So she gets it. So he looks at their murder board as Charles is trying to talk to Mabel, and he highlights the fact that whoever did this took the shot after Saz left the voicemail, left the Westies, came and moved Saz's body, cleaned up the mess, and put her in the incinerator in a matter of 12 minutes. That sounds really, really tight. Even the most seasoned of assassins would have a hard time achieving that feat. So we're thinking that maybe this is somebody like uber athletic. And so Charles was like, hold on, wait, just hear me out, okay? And he takes us through the whole thing, right? And this is from his 007 Brazo persona, right? And so he does it. He makes it really nice. He gets there, right, in his imaginary 12-minute time frame. It's possible. But like I said, you have to be super athletic to do that. So then insert Oliver. Y'all, Oliver comes in at the right time. Now, granted, he was supposed to be looking at he was supposed to be printing out the photos from when they went to the production office, right? That's where Charles and Mabel were. He was supposed to be printing out those copies, and he's wanting to participate, right? He wants to prove that he is the man's man for Loretta, and that junk needs to be junked outside on the corner. And so he was like, I'll do it. I'll do your test run. And so they were advising against it, y'all, but y'all know how Oliver is. Now, this entire time, too, Oliver has been getting criticized in the script for him being like a insecure Peter Pan or something like that, right? So he has to prove himself. So he puts on his best jogging suit, okay? And he goes through the whole scene. And first off, I know this ain't gonna end well because he needed help getting down off the windowsill. He needed help, y'all. And so they help him get down. And by the time he done he done ran outside, right? First off, he slid down the banister, the banister of the steps. He hit his ball sack on the end of the end of the banister. Then he went outside and he's telling this mama and her kids to move the hell around because he's got a time deadline that he needs to meet. And so he's shouting at them, and then this guy comes up and tries to defend the mama and her kids for him yelling at them. It's the whole mess. By the time he gets done, y'all, he comes back to the apartment. He's got feathers all in his hair. It's been almost 40 minutes, y'all. Loretta's still gonna love you regardless. Can you please just talk to her, Oliver? He probably gonna propose by the end of the season. But that's no never mind right now. Okay. Long story short, he didn't make the cut. Okay. So whoever did this, like I said, it's got to be a little bit more in tip top shape than Oliver. So then here comes Les the doorman. And he's got their costumes for the photo shoot. So Mabel was like, "We have to go," because by this time she done looked at the pictures from the production office, waiting on Oliver to get back. And so she tells them that they have to go because there's a footprint there that matches the footprint in the windowsill. So whoever killed Sass is at this photo shoot. So they go to the photo shoot, y'all, and we see threes because it's Mabel, Oliver, and Charles. Then you got Eva. Shoot, I can't remember a man's name. Anyway, you've got their the actors from the movie, and then you've got the stunt doubles. So it's threes. And so then Bev calls everybody in, and she announces that they're going to be as confusing as the podcast is, right? And so she calls them in, and there are mirrors all around. And so they're going to see doubles, triples, quadruples, all the things, right? So they end up doing this photo shoot. And it gets weird when Zach and Oliver get ready to do their part, right? Because Zach ends up asking Oliver, did he see the rewrite? And he was like, no. So then he tells Oliver about Marshall writing him more insecure than what he already was. And then Oliver mentions how Loretta is castmates with Junk. And so he was like, oh, he junks hard. Okay. He mentioned this story about him being on the set of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and he ended up junking all seven dwarfs. And so then when Oliver revealed that Loretta and him were working together, he backtracked a little bit. He was like, well, maybe it was just 5. That ain't enough. Hilarious, y'all. So then once the brothers sisters end up telling Zach and Oliver to come face to face, like peen to peen, this is when Oliver bows out and Ben jumps in. And so they're doing the shoot, right? It's a whole thing. And so as that's happening, Charles and Mabel are standing off to the side, and then this is when Mabel has Eva do her diva thing, go on her little lunatic rant, and she gets on to Howard about not having her sticky tape out, right? Her sticky mat out. And so he ends up putting them down, and Mabel wanted this to happen. She set this all up. This was kind of like a last minute thing, but this seems to work, right? And so the idea is that people are going to walk back and forth on the sticky mat, and then they're going to track their footprints, right? And so then based off the footprint, they'll be able to match the footprint from the windowsill. And then boom, you have your murderer, right? And so Mabel thanks Eva after that. And we see people walking back and forth, back and forth. Marshall is kind of sitting off in the cut, just doing his thing, just observing, right? And so then he comes over the voice thing, and he talks about adaptation and how you're able to get out of the imposter syndrome once you are able to face your fears and actually achieve what you had a fear of achieving, right? And so then he also says something about you just keep working at it. You keep working at it until you finally figure it out. And then if not, then shoot, you go back to the drawing board. So it's time for Charles to come back in and do his photo shoot with Eugene, or do his part of the shoot with Eugene. I don't know how I forgot that man's name that fast. Come back in and do his shoot with Eugene. Well, when he's getting ready to leave out of the makeup chair, he runs into Eugene, and they're doing this like dance trying to get around each other. And then I think one of them puts their hand in the other hand, and so Eugene was like, "Are we dancing now?" You know, they're both awkward. And so Charles was like, "I finally got my head back. I got my brain back." He goes to Mabel and was like, "Mabel, I figured out the how. It was two people. One person was the shooter, and the other person was there to do the cleanup and move the body." And so then at that particular point, Mabel looks down and she sees the same shoe print that was on the windowsill. So then she looks around and she finds the shoe print. Y'all, why was the shoe print on one of the brother sisters? And so then we see them going through the whole kill scene where the one sister that talks, that's not as weird, she's the one taking the kill shot. And then the bigger sister comes and picks Saz's body up. Now, the reason that we know it happened like this is because when Oliver and Zach were finna get ready to be almost done with their part of it, the one sister said, "Oh, he's off his mark." And so the other sister came over and literally picked Oliver up and moved him. And so then it all came together. And both of them had on the same shoes. So it makes sense because they're odd like that. So once it finally connects for Mabel, she tells Charles, but by the time they look back up, y'all, the one brother sister is missing. She's gone. The one that moved Saz's body is still around on the shoot. But they're trying to find the other sister. Where in the hell did she go? And then all of a sudden, a shot goes off and we hear Oliver, but hopefully he's not hit. But somebody ends up getting shot. And that's the way the episode ends, y'all. It was really good. I really, really enjoyed that. Are we really getting our killers this early in the season? How many more episodes do we have, y'all? Hold on, let me Google, because I feel like they only give us like 8 episodes. Oh, it won't tell me. I know it's not just 6 episodes. Okay, y'all. So maybe that is the season finale. Maybe. Let me go to Wiki real quick. No, okay, so there are 10 episodes, y'all. I'm sorry. So maybe they're gonna take a break. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen because next episode is, that's all I can see is up until episode 6. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about it, okay? Do y'all think it's really the brother sisters? I do, but is Saz really dead, y'all? Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it, okay? You can reach me at Me and You TV Reviews on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also reach me at My TV Reviews Podcast without the S on the end at gmail.com. Y'all, I love y'all, okay? I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. You guys stay safe out there. Have a good rest of your week. And until we meet over the airwaves again, I am Mo, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.